Good. We're all seated. We can begin. I'm going to ask a question for all three of you now, because I'm interested in your research process for this movie, because I'm guessing you couldn't just call up the FBI and talk to families in witness protection already. So how did you go about doing this? Let's start with you, Michelle.
Well, for me, we had the book as a reference, which was really valuable, and but for me, it was really, I focused more on family and personalizing it more, which was ultimately Maggie's role in it, which is, to protect her family at any cost.
Okay. And Bob, if I may call you Bob?
Yeah. Well, I spoke to people. I was trying to find a believable reason why he would be in France. Though we didn't quite find it. Though Luke said he had spoke to people in France, and it would be true. It could be. I still think that it could be too, but we never, as I say, what's the word? Validated it, if you will. And there were other people I spoke to. I had some experience before with Henry Hill doing Goodfellas. I talked to him a bit. Every time I had a question, I would get in touch. I'd get word to him that I need to talk to him, and then he'd call me on the set. So, and also this story, it is, as Michelle says, it is what it is. So you don't have to. It's kind of not about accuracy in the witness protection program. To find details that would be interesting, yes, but I think that there were a lot of details in it that were good as is. So,
thank you. And
how's that for an answer?
That's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy, and this is something that Luke does very well. And so, like what Bob and Michelle said, it was on the page. It was with Luke's direction, and I think that because it's a little bit more fun, this isn't a very serious, in-depth study of what it would be like. So it just gave us room to play.
Okay, fantastic. Have you any questions now for our illustrious guest? I'll start with you.
Yeah, question, is it Diana or Deanna? Is it Diana?
Diana.
I always get that wrong.
That's okay.
Just a question for you, good self. You're on set with Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert De Niro, these Hollywood legends, amazing actor and actress. Do you kind of get your head around that? Do you pinch yourself, or is it all in the day's work for you?
No, it's definitely mind-boggling, and it was about a month and a half before I found out that I had the movie for sure, and over that course of time, everybody had confirmed that they were participating in this film. So, you'd be walking down the street being like, oh, I really hope I get that, and go about your day, toss it away. So, just the fact that we had that experience and we're sitting here, and a year later, it's just, yes, you never get over the fact that it's very cool.
And were they easy to work with?
Yes, I mean, like, the greatest thing about Luke is he sets up such a beautiful environment to film. Doing a location film can be exceptionally exhilarating because, like for this, we were in Paris and in Normandy, two beautiful places, and you can miss home and everything, but it's a great unifier because you're not at home, you don't have chores and your dog calling at you and all these things, whatever you have, so you can really make the most of it.
Fantastic. Yes, please. Thank you.
I have a question for Robert and Michelle. Firstly, Robert, your character watches Goodfellas in the movie. Have you revisited Goodfellas lately? And if not Goodfellas, another of your movies? And Michelle, you've worked with both Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Who's the better gangster?
Well, I'll answer the first. I looked at the movie and I looked at the DVD. Actually, there were things on the DVD that I hadn't been aware of. So I went through the whole film carefully, and then I went through the other stuff on the DVD that, as I said, I wasn't aware of, and it was good, helpful for me.
And Michelle?
Can I answer his question? Because we did revisit Goodfellas. It was hilarious. It really holds up. It's an amazing film. You can't compare the two. It's like apples and oranges, right? And I never really considered Tony Montana, a mafioso, I considered him, he's like a drug lord, and I don't know if there's a difference, but, and you know, in terms of my relationship with him in the film, it's really, he's my husband, you know, I don't really relate to him as a mobster. He's just somebody who, you know, won't listen to what I say and then misbehaves.
Sometimes.
So you watch Goodfellas together?
Bob wasn't there.
Okay, he wasn't there. We just read it. Okay.
We screened it when we were staying in Normandy. Yeah.
It's quite fun. Yes, please.
It's a question from Michelle. I mean, you've been married to the mob before, and in that instance, you were trying to get away from the life.
Mm-hmm.
Here, the wife does seem to be every bit as ruthless as her husband when the occasion demands it. Did you enjoy embracing that side of yourself, the violent side, and did that seem more authentic to you, being a mob wife, that you could be as violent as the men in your life?
Well, I broke my electric toothbrush the other day in a fit of rage. Oh gosh, no, I can't imagine myself blowing up supermarkets.
Even small ones?
No, yeah, but it is fun. It's fun to play those kinds of parts. I loved playing Angela DeMarco in Married to the Mob. But I also had a lot of fun. You know, it's fun to kick ass and show that other dark side of yourself as well. It's fun to explore, you know, areas that are taboo that you're not allowed to in real life as an actor.
So what would you push your buttons besides rudeness in supermarkets?
Rudeness is when it gets to me. Yeah, that one is. That one does get to me, I have to say. Like I would speak up if I see somebody being rude to somebody, like a wait, you know, people who are rude to waiters and people. I don't like that sort of thing. People who take cuts in line. No, it doesn't fly.
Some guy, I was at, if I can continue on that, some guy, I was leaving this parking structure and he cut his car right in front of me like I was waiting patiently in line, and I was so mad by that.
I know.
I was really upset, like more upset than I thought I should be in that moment. It's like, fine, you're better than I am apparently, in your mind, go on with your day.
So
Make
Bob,
me wait.
Bob, I think we should complete the trilogy now by asking you what pushes your buttons.
Yeah. Well, I think in the movie, Luke, I forget if those things were in the book. It's part of, he has a way of doing that which is personal, and that's why I think it's funny in a sense. He juxtaposes the certain scene with this violent, extremely violent sort of thing, putting the guy's head in the face in the grill or whatever. I mean, it's like he had personalized it in some way that gave it a little special extra touch. If I can say that, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that's answering your question, but
Well, we'll take a question here from the gentleman in the third row. Thank you.
Hi, it's a question for Robert. I wondered if you've ever been tempted to put pen to paper and open up about your own life in the way that your character does in this. And if you've ever been approached to do it, and if you've said no, why you've said no.
You mean to write a autobiography or something? I have been, but I haven't really entertained it much.
Can I ask why? Because a lot of actors do reveal their past and talk about their careers.
Yeah, I understand. I just, it takes time to do that too. I just haven't. Once Scorsese and I were thinking of doing a book together, and we might still, I don't know, but that was as far as it went.
I think we would all read that book if you wrote that. Yes, please, right at the back.
My question to Mr. De Niro: during the course of your luminous career, you've played gangsters in every form, from comedic to dramatic. I wonder what it is about this world that you think fascinates other people so much, and what keeps you as a performer revisiting it.
Well, if it's written well, it's fun to do, and the characters are interesting. Especially if I'm doing them with like I did with Luke or with Marty Scorsese. We have another gangster film we're going to do, but it's it's a very interesting one. I'm looking forward to it. And I guess people are fascinated by them because they're against the establishment in some ways, and yet in some ways they're not, and whatever, they break the law, the rules. So I guess there are people who can write it very well, explain better than I can why people are fascinated by them.
Yes, please, you're in the blue jumper. Thank you.
Question for Robert and Michelle. As the title suggests, the film will live or die by the family unit that you create. You create a very believable one. Did you take time? Diana was asked at the beginning whether she was intimidated by your reputation. Are you aware of that, and do you make certain things in each film you do when you work with younger people to actually put them at even through?
It never occurs to me that I would be intimidating to anybody. Maybe I should consider that, because yeah, maybe I should. I mean, he's a classic example of somebody who's iconic and who sort of effortlessly puts actors at ease, the moment you meet him. And I think it's also just something that he innately does with people. So I'm just never really aware. You just show up to the set, everybody, you're just sort of a part of a team, and you're working together and supporting each other, and you got each other's back, and I think if everybody shows up with that attitude, then everybody has a great time, and I think the work is better as well.
And Diana, were you put at ease at any point? Did you notice a conscious reaching out, I guess, to you to calm your nerves?
No, they're just lovely people. I think the main thing is, like Michelle said, everybody wants to do a good job, and you want to make it believable, and that involves speaking to each other, not just in the scene. That would be quite awkward. So, although I have heard of instances where people are asked not to talk to people or look them in their eye or not wear purple, things like that.
He's wearing purple. Yes, please, in the front row.
I love the chemistry between you all in the film. Would you consider getting back together for a family reunion?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
They probably will relocate us to the Sahara desert or something.
You could do that if you want. Yes, please, in the second row. Thank you.
Yeah, question to all of you. I was wondering, in the film, obviously, the family have to kind of embrace the culture and try and fit in the north of France. I was wondering, when you're shooting abroad, do you have time to kind of visit the local area and be kind of tourists, or is it all very much strictly work?
I had time to do certain things. We all have time at one point, and I always feel when you're in a location, when you're in a location that you take advantage of it, because you never know when you're going to be back there, if ever. So that's my.
Michelle, you were saying you didn't have time. You didn't do anything.
No, I was coming back and forth, so I didn't really have any downtime. When I was there, my work was pretty condensed. Diana wanted to write a bit.
I went to a livestock fair with Tommy Lee Jones, which was one of the most comical things that has ever happened to me in my life. One, because they don't know who Tommy Lee Jones is in Normandy, so Tommy's having the time of his life, because he's very much...
He's a cowboy.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah.
And so he's in his element, and you feel as if Normandy's very untouched. You feel like you're in the 80s, or, it's just like people are walking around town as we're filming, just like slowly peeking their head out the window, looking at you as if you're an alien. Whereas in LA or New York, people are like, oh, film crew, great, there's going to be traffic and this and that or whatever. And so there was this strange interaction between us and the locals, and also that, you know, there's much more, I mean, people speak English in Normandy, but it's not like Paris. So yeah, we're trekking around a livestock fair, and you know, they're like smoke plumes in the corner and huge tractors for sale and the most enormous rabbits you've ever seen. I tried thinking of ways that I could bring some of these animals home, and that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, it was quite fun.
Fantastic.
It's so scary that stepping back in time for Diana is the 80s.
This question for Diana. You've said it was great working with Robert and Michelle. Would you say you learnt any particular lessons on set working with them that you'll take with you in your future career and that will maybe influence what roles you pick?
Well, I will say that it's very different now. You know, only from observation. Then, you know, I think that both of these two people to my left have made such wonderful choices with the characters they've played, just in such interesting movies. And I think that, you know, watching, obviously I've seen so many of their, like almost all of their work, so my learning experience was from watching them create a new character in front of me and then thinking about things that they've done in the past. And then I think as far as my career goes, I'm not afraid not to work. And I think that can be maybe my greatest strength and also maybe a weakness, but I feel like a lot of people want to work back to back to back to back for fear that it's going to go away. And I think that if I'm to try to honor what I've seen, you know, Michelle and Bob do, it's to make smart choices and make things that you really believe in, because that's when you're having the most fun. And if you just try to force it, you're going to probably only like half of your work. Yeah.
We got time for a couple more questions, yes please.
How long were you filming on location for, and how do you cope with being away from your friends and your family? All of you.
Oh, I was, I guess, away. I went back home a few times on long weekends. So it was maybe 5 weeks for me. I don't know.
I was away from home 10 days to 2 weeks at a time, and I was flying back and forth over a period of a couple of months, I think. So, you know, you miss everybody. But fortunately, they were able to work out the schedule so that I didn't have to be away from home for longer than that.
And Diana?
I think I was gone the longest. I looked at it.
You were held captive.
Yeah. It was kind of great for me because I'd just come off of doing the previous season of Glee, and I booked this job, and I went from Italy, going on a vacation in Italy, to going to France. It was very glamorous, and then I was there for I think 3 months. But that being said, like I don't have my own family, and I didn't have anything pulling my heartstrings back home. I mean, obviously your friends and your family, but no children, no things like that. So it definitely was good for me to be gone for a bit, but you have to do a really great job of keeping in touch with everybody, because otherwise you get back and they're like, who are you? And in France and Italy trying to be fancy, you know. So it's good. It really strengthens your communication through things like email and stuff like that. I mean, I tried to be good and send a few letters, which I think is really a dying thing these days. But yeah, you have to be good at it. You have to work at it. Skype, things like that.
And the last 2 questions is the lady over here.
Robert, you mentioned about a gangster film that you were thinking of working on with Martin Scorsese. I just wondered where the film The Irishman is.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That's the one, okay. And are you working on that at the moment?
Well, we're not. We're preparing it. We're not. We have a script, and we're gonna. Marty has another film he's doing before that. We're gonna do it, so it won't be for a while.
And I understand you had said because you've part Irish roots that you were going to look into your Irish roots a little more. I
have been doing that. It's been harder for some reason, and but I am still doing it, in fact.
Any idea what part of Ireland?
No, I'm not sure. The southern, the southern part of I've been working on it a lot, yeah.
And the last question from this gentleman here.
Mr. De Niro, your character, Giovanni's summing up of his wife's pasta making, fuck, would be an enviable response for a food critic. You're a restaurateur as well, as being an actor. Where's the worst and the best meal that you've ever had in your life?
Well, I can't say I don't want to say the worst, but I...
Oh, please.
Well, I got some good ones here in London, and in Europe, obviously, in France and Spain, great restaurants there on this side of the ocean. And I like my restaurant, Nobu, it's great. Italian restaurant. I don't know. There are so many great places to go, and especially when we were shooting in France, I'd try and go to some good places, and yet you gotta, not overindulge because you still want to gain a lot of weight. So.
And let's bring Michelle and Diana in this one as well. What's the best meals you've ever had? And has anything made you exclaim the F word in delight? You mucky-minded lot. That's graceful.
You can't have a favorite meal, like you can't have a favorite movie or a favorite book or, a favorite child. I've had some amazing meals at Nobu, I gotta say. That's a fantastic restaurant. Worst meal ever? No, I can't tell you. I can't tell you that.
And Diana?
We were actually just talking about this today. We're so lucky that we get to travel to all these places, so you really get, I have favorite places everywhere we go, and I don't think I have. I think it's the same as Michelle said. It's really hard to narrow it down to one, but yeah, I just think that the more you travel, the more you realize that specialties of different places and like local produce and what that means versus, comparatively. I don't know.
There's a great burger bar in London, by the way. Look for the quick matches. And that is all the time we have, I'm afraid. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your questions. Thanks so much to Dianna Agron, Robert De Niro, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Thanks for coming.